there. Just want to say, before anything else, this is the closest I've gotten to a sponsored video, by which I mean my cousin owns a bar in New Orleans called 12 Mile Limit, and you all should go there if you get the chance and are of drinking age and fit all the requirements, because he is a really good bartender and he's a really good mixologist. He's like winning awards for his drinks and stuff, and he's collaborating with this baker, and like their kitchen is now fully functional and up to code and stuff, and so I don't know, you should just go there. He gave me this shirt for Christmas as definite advertising for him. So is this a sponsored video? Like, he gives me free clothing if I talk about his thing? It's not, but it's close to sponsored, so give me free stuff and I'll talk about you. Anyway, someone long ago wanted me to make a video talking about how I got sick, and I said I would, and I didn't, so this is that video. First, I want to make it clear that I didn't get sick. I've always been sick, I just didn't know it, and so my sickness sort of became apparent. So we're going to tell that story. I have a genetic illness called Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. I have the hypermobility type, and it's kind of weird. So EDS is basically a collagen defect, and in the hypermobility type, people have funky joints that like to dislocate a bunch and chronic pain. So it didn't really bother me most of my life. I did have some issues with like loose ligaments. When I would take swimming classes, my form was weird, and I couldn't really cut through the water as easily as other people because the water would just kind of almost bend me instead of me cutting through it. And I remember I had to stop taking karate because when I got to red belt level, we started flipping each other, and that was like a mandatory part of class, and whenever anybody would flip me, whether it be an instructor or another student, my shoulder would dislocate. They'd try the other shoulder, that one would as well. And if it didn't dislocate, it would sublux, which is like a partial dislocation. So that just really wasn't a healthy thing. But I'd be in pain sometimes, and my brother would just say I had a really low pain tolerance, and my parents kind of would too. But then I knew I had a high pain tolerance, because whenever I'd like hurt myself, it wouldn't be a big deal to me. So there was a little inconsistency there, but December of 2014, so about 2 years ago now, I got a vaccine because I was going to go on a mission trip. I believe this was the hepatitis B vaccine, but it might have been hepatitis A, I'm not sure. It's whichever the one that you don't get as a baby is. So I got this vaccine, and I got sick. My immune system tanked, and I wound up being in a lot more pain than I had been before. I kept getting all these respiratory infections, and my lungs were being absolutely terrible at being lungs because I kept getting sick so much. And we just didn't know what was happening. So it turns out that there's a possible link with EDS and immunodeficiency, or whatever, just compromised immune systems, because the body works so hard to hold itself together that it doesn't have energy to fight off diseases. Who actually knows? But there's a possible link there. And maybe the vaccine was just the right time. Who knows? Anyway, I was really sick for a while. After 6 months of this, after it had been decreed that I would repeat a year of school, and other things had happened, I got to see, my primary care physician finally decided to take a serious look at things. By this time, I'd had a sketchy x-ray where my lungs had looked like the lungs of an AIDS patient who has a cold. So not even just somebody who's HIV positive, but has like AIDS. And people were freaking out about this. And so then I got tested for all sorts of autoimmune diseases and cancers, and it was a really scary 2 weeks. I got the all clear to travel, though, which sounds so weird. But all these tests, except I think I had an outstanding leukemia test, all the tests came back negative. And I was supposed to get another hepatitis vaccine right before I left. I had enough antibodies at the time to go, so I got to go on this mission trip. And when I came back, leukemia checked out, and just never got the second vaccine. In July, I went to an allergist who sent me to a geneticist in August, and we had a whole bunch of things tested, other autoimmune things, who knows what else, and turns out I'm allergic to horse dander and dust. And beans, but that didn't show up because they were testing like lung allergies, not stomach allergies or whatever. And so then I went to the geneticist with my mom, and this is interesting, because the allergist was pretty sure that my mom had EDS and that I did. And if you can establish a familial link, then that's really helpful. Because my mom initially didn't want it on my chart because she didn't want it messing with my chances of getting health insurance because I had a pre-existing condition, which is really nice, but, you know, assuming that Obamacare is not repealed, it's nothing to worry about. So then we went to the geneticist, and she thought maybe my mom had Marfan's, but lo and behold, it wasn't Marfan's, it was Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. So here we are 2 years later after the sickness made itself apparent, and my immune system seems to tentatively be getting better, and I'm learning coping skills, and that's kind of the story of how I noticed I was sick, is the best way I can describe it. I'm lucky that I only had a 6-month window between when I really started looking for answers in February and when I got them in August. It takes so many people years and decades even to get answers because doctors tend not to believe their patients. My pediatrician for the longest time thought that I was literally insane. I had some mental illness that was manifesting as a chronic illness, or that I was just making it up. And so many people have so many experiences similar to that, and I'm just, if you're hunting for a diagnosis, I'm here for you. If you've been diagnosed, I'm here for you. I'm just here for everybody. So, there's that. I hope you have a great